Why are your teeth too crowded for your own mouth? It isn't a medical mystery. It is an evolutionary tax paid for the invention of fire. We traded massive, bone-crushing jaws for a caloric surplus that fueled our brains, effectively outsourcing our digestion to the flame and shrinking our faces forever. Welcome to the great evolutionary irony. You are part of the most intelligent species on the planet, capable of splitting the atom and exploring the cosmos, yet your mouth barely has enough room for its own teeth. While a wild wolf or a chimpanzee naturally develops a perfectly aligned set of chompers, humans spend billions of dollars every year on metal wires, brackets, and painful extractions just to achieve a functional bite. It is a biological glitch, a bizarre hardware failure unique to modern humans. This absolute disaster of dental engineering did not happen overnight. Today, we are going to explore exactly how our faces got hijacked by our own technological progress. We will trace the timeline back to the invention that gave us massive brains but stole our jawline, explore the agricultural shift that turned our food into absolute mush, and dive into the wild 2026 internet obsession with orthotropics and jaw gains. Finally, we will look ahead to the distant future. With the rise of liquid nutrition, meal replacement shakes, and ultra-processed soft diets, we have to ask a terrifying question. Will the human face continue to shrink until we look like sci-fi aliens with giant heads and tiny mouths? Grab a tough piece of jerky, start chewing, and let us dive into the bizarre future of the human face. To understand why your face is shrinking, we have to travel back about 2 million years to meet our ancestor, Homo erectus. Back then, eating was a full-time job. Raw meat and tough root vegetables required massive jaw muscles and heavy, robust facial bones just to grind down the daily calories. But big brains are incredibly expensive to run, consuming about 20% of our body's energy. We were stuck at a biological checkpoint. We could not grow smarter because we simply could not chew enough raw food in a 24-hour day to fuel a larger brain. Then, someone discovered fire, and everything changed. Harvard primatologist Richard Wrangham famously detailed this in his cooking hypothesis. By cooking our food, we essentially unlocked a biological cheat code for infinite energy. Cooking was the first form of external digestion. Fire broke down the tough proteins and complex carbohydrates before the food even touched our lips. Suddenly, we were absorbing far more calories with a fraction of the chewing effort. We no longer needed a massive digestive tract or heavy, bone-crushing jaws. According to evolutionary biology, unused features slowly get phased out to save energy. The skull real estate previously occupied by giant jaw muscles was handed over to our expanding brains. We literally traded our heavy muzzles for a cerebral cortex. From an evolutionary standpoint, this was a fantastic deal. We gained the cognitive power to invent language, tools, and society. But there was a catch. While our jawbones began to shrink rapidly over thousands of years, our teeth remained practically the exact same size. Fast forward to the agricultural revolution, about 10,000 years ago, and things went from bad to worse for our facial bones. Before farming, hunter-gatherers still gnawed on relatively tough, fibrous foods, but agriculture introduced the era of the mush. Humans started eating boiled grains, soft porridges, and processed dairy. According to Harvard evolutionary biologist Daniel Lieberman, this created a massive mismatch disease. Jawbones are remarkably similar to muscles. They require intense mechanical stress to reach their full genetic potential. Because early farmers were eating much softer diets, their jawbones simply did not experience the mechanical force needed to grow wide and robust. Our facial structure is highly malleable during childhood, and without the heavy physical stress of endless chewing, the modern human jaw simply fails to expand to its proper, genetically intended width. This lack of developmental stress leads us straight to the crowded teeth epidemic. Imagine trying to park 32 large SUVs in a parking lot designed for only 28 compact cars. That is exactly what is happening inside your mouth. The jaw simply did not grow wide enough to accommodate the full genetic set of teeth. This is why wisdom teeth have become a universal nightmare. They are the last teeth to erupt, and by the time they show up, the parking lot is completely full. So they become impacted, growing sideways and causing intense pain. In fact, evolutionary anthropologist Dr. Alan Mann notes that about 35% of humans today are born without one or more wisdom teeth. Evolution is actively trying to patch this hardware bug by simply deleting our back teeth to save space. Welcome to the year 2026, where humanity has finally realized that our faces are shrinking and the internet is fighting back. Enter the explosive cultural obsession with orthotropics. Originating from the controversial theories of Dr. John Mew and his son Dr. Mike Mew, the movement argues that modern facial shrinking is an environmental issue, not a strict genetic destiny. The theory states that proper oral posture, specifically keeping your tongue flat against the roof of your mouth, breathing strictly through your nose, and engaging in heavy chewing, can guide facial bones to grow properly. What started as a niche, underground dental theory exploded into a mainstream lifestyle trend. Millions of young adults are now desperately chewing tough mastic gum and practicing tongue posture, frantically trying to reverse thousands of years of dietary softening. This entire 2026 movement is essentially an evolutionary rebellion. It is a biological DLC patch created by humans trying to manually override a hardware downgrade. People are artificially trying to simulate the mechanical stress of a hunter-gatherer diet while living in an era of ultra-processed fast food. The aesthetic results people chase, a sharper jawline, prominent cheekbones, and perfectly straight teeth, are exactly the structural features our ancestors naturally developed just by eating their daily meals. But while millions of internet users are aggressively chewing synthetic rubber to widen their palates, the rest of the food industry is sprinting in the exact opposite direction. Our daily diets are becoming aggressively softer, demanding less mechanical effort from our jaws than any other period in human history. We are living in a bizarre paradox where one half of society is desperately doing jaw workouts, while the other half is drinking their meals from a blender. As we look at the trajectory of modern food technology, a chilling question emerges. If the softness of our diet dictates the size of our jaws, what happens when food loses its solid texture entirely? Are we destined to win this orthotropic rebellion, or is the human face about to undergo a radical, terrifying transformation that will shrink our jaws even further? Let us look at what the dietary landscape of the future actually holds for our facial bones. The future of human nutrition is pointing heavily toward efficiency and convenience, and that means a massive reduction in chewing. We are already seeing the massive popularity of liquid meal replacements, protein shakes, and smooth fruit purees. Furthermore, the development of lab-grown meats and heavily engineered synthetic foods often results in textures that are incredibly soft and easy to digest. If our jawbones require intense physical resistance to grow to their full size, a future diet dominated by nutrient-dense liquids and soft, synthetic goop means our facial bones will receive zero mechanical stimulation. Generation after generation will grow up barely using their masseter muscles. The orthotropic movement might fight back today, but the unstoppable tide of technological convenience strongly suggests that our jaws will continue to narrow. If this trend continues uninterrupted, the distant future of the human face looks completely alien compared to our hunter-gatherer ancestors. Picture a massive, bulbous cranium designed to house a hyper-connected, technologically integrated brain, sitting above a delicate, incredibly narrow jawline. This future human will not need robust chewing muscles or 32 large teeth because their entirely liquid or paste-based diet requires zero mechanical processing. Evolutionary pressures might eventually shrink our teeth to match the smaller jaw, or perhaps delete a few more molars from our genetic code entirely. We are literally watching human evolution happen in real time. Our bodies are adapting to a world where physical strength and jaw power are completely useless, sacrificing our lower facial structure to maximize our brain capacity and our convenience. This is the ultimate, inescapable irony of the human condition. The very invention that sparked our intelligence, allowed us to master our environment and build modern civilization, is the exact same force that structurally ruined our smiles. Fire gave us the stars, but it took away our jawlines. Every time you have to get a cavity filled, wear a retainer, or suffer through the pain of impacted wisdom teeth, you are physically experiencing the consequences of our ancient bargain. We traded our biological perfection for cognitive supremacy. Your overcrowded teeth are not a random birth defect. They are the ancient, unpaid receipt for the invention of cooking. We are the smartest creatures on earth, and we have the dental bills to prove it. So the next time you look in the mirror and complain about your crooked smile, remember that you are looking at an evolutionary trophy. Keep chewing that tough gum and practicing your orthotropics if you want to fight the tide. But know that your ancestors already signed the contract millions of years ago. Our faces have shrunk, our brains have exploded in size, and our diets will only get softer from here. What do you think the human face will actually look like in 10,000 years? Will we have tiny jaws and giant heads, or will we genetically engineer our way back to perfection? Let us know your craziest predictions in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button and never forget to chew your food. See you in the next video.